Hey, I'm Emily Schotmer. I go by she, her pronouns. I'm a junior at IU Bloomington, and I'm currently majoring in international studies and anthropology.
Hi guys, I'm Allison Harvey and I am a senior at DePaul University. Will be graduating in May and I am a philosophy and Chinese major. My pronouns are she and her, and I will actually be living in Indianapolis after graduating, working for Salesforce. So you'll probably see me around at church because I plan to still go.
Hi, I'm Courtney Bachman. I use they, them pronouns. I go to Ball State University. I am a junior studying theater design and technology with a focus in props. For me, it was just the feeling of home. I got on campus and I was looking around and just like walking campus with my mom and like a couple of the friends that I had that I were already attending Ball State, and I could just see myself being here in the future. And that's kind of the selling point for me, was just like I felt at home on campus before I even like applied to the school.
So, as far as organizing materials, a lot of times professors don't give out handouts or really anything. So, you might not even ever need a binder or a folder or stuff like that. But for me, usually I did get at least one folder if that was to collect all random papers from different classes or stuff like that. Usually, you can find out during the first week, which is called syllabus week, you can get a feel for what you might need during the class. Um, it kind of depends on, too, how you best take notes. For me, that's writing things out, but for some people, it's a computer or on an iPad or stuff like that. And so for the first week of class, I made sure to get a 5 subject notebook, which was like one section for each class, and that's what worked best for me. But it's different for everybody, and you could show up with nothing to the first day of class and you would be fine.
Top notebook, because some professors won't let you have your notebook, or sorry, some professors won't let you have your laptop. So always bring a notebook in case they prefer you to take handwritten notes.
One thing that I do recommend for sure is getting a planner, because that is something that helped me immensely. During the syllabus week, when you usually get all of the deadlines for that class, everything you're going to do for the entire semester. And what I did, I wrote every single deadline out in my planner, because then I knew exactly what was coming up. I never missed a deadline. I've never missed a deadline to this day.
So for me, a big thing was Google Calendar. It can be scary at first to try and figure out how to use it. I still don't even know a lot of things about it, but in the most simple way, I use it on my phone and laptop because it syncs my calendars together. And so I have anything on there from going to class and where that class is located, all the way to the simple like do homework during this time slot, because it alerts me on my phone. And I think it's a really great way to sync up a lot of different schedules, because you can pull it out at any time.
And something too is, do not buy the textbook before the first day of class, because so many people do that. And then you get to class and the professor's like, oh yeah, that's just a suggestion or stuff like that. So my freshman year, lived on what's called a living learning community, or LLC. So that's basically where people are grouped together on one floor based off of your major or a special interest or stuff like that. And it's something that you sign up for to be a part of. And that was kind of nice because everybody, and I did mine for international studies, so I knew everybody on the floor at least had the major of international studies or were tangentially related to that. And that kind of gave us all a similar interest, and it was really easy to strike up conversations with other people.
So the way I made friends with people on my floor, my freshman year, that first week, like before classes had even started, um, I had one friend at the time who lived on my floor, and the two of us went around to all of the all of the rooms on our floor, because our floor is just like one long hallway, and we knocked on doors or like asked people who had their doors open if any of them wanted to play Uno with us. And we got like a large group of people to play Uno with us at the end of the hall. And some of those people that I hung out with playing Uno had become some of my like close friends, one of which I live with. So that was really cool.
Always leave your doors open, and people can come by and say hi to you, and you can get introduce one another, stuff like that. Also, stop by people whose doors are open and introduce yourself and get to know people. It's a lot about putting yourself out there. And I know at IU dorms, a lot of them have lounges on every floor, so that's something that you can hang out in, and then people can stop by and you can strike up conversations, or you can play games and stuff like that. That's always a good way.
And outside of my floor, I kind of just talk to people in my classes. The way my program works is that they like heavy load a lot of our like department classes. And so a lot of people in my major just kind of followed each other in classes. So I got to know people really fast that way. And that's kind of how I met my best friend that I have today.
A lot of people are in the same situation as you, where they're away from home and getting to know people, so don't feel weird about talking to people or asking questions or getting to know them. Everyone's in the same spot. You are not alone, let me tell you that.
It's meet your professor and get to know he or she or them or they more personally, because they can help you develop a relationship both inside the classroom and outside of the classroom, whether it's you're getting specific help on an assignment or even some guidance on, I'm interested in this major, what classes do you recommend? But definitely recommend going because you can develop a relationship with them.
Yeah, so those conversations were definitely a lot easier with Anderson being a Christian school. It was kind of settling, knowing whatever friends that I was making here at the beginning of the semester, that most of them would be pretty like-minded with me in that sense. But once I had a friend group kind of formed, we had those conversations of oh, tomorrow morning, are any of you guys going to church? Or even your classmates could be like, oh, like, what church did you try out this weekend? In that sort of sense. And ultimately, word kind of got around of like, oh, this one's really great for college students. This one's not so great. I personally went to probably 4 or 5 churches like in the area, sometimes like 2 per Sunday, just to see what I was like personally wanting and seeing if that was found in churches around here. But yeah, it definitely took a little while to find one that I really liked. And then it also took a while to kind of form connections with like the other students going to that church too. But once you got in the groove of it, it was really nice to finally have students at school and in my classes that were also going to church with me on Sundays, which was really great.
For me, I was really looking for an inclusive church with a really diverse crowd in terms of age, ethnicity, gender, kind of all the above that St. Luke's does a great job of, being inclusive to everybody. And I didn't really find that, honestly, until senior year. I will say I found a church that was really open here. It was hard though because I wanted that like in-person connection. So for me, it wasn't really a church I found, but rather a group of students who were coming together to spend time in the Word and just kind of worship together. So that for me was kind of my church home on campus. So definitely recommend checking out different clubs, whether it's kind of all religions or different Christianity groups on your campus.
The biggest thing that I was looking for was also like from St. Luke's, a church that was inclusive, diverse, and also had a good balance between scripture motivated and like application motivated. I didn't want a church that only ever talked about scripture, and I didn't want a church that only ever talked about application. I wanted a really good mix of how can we use this scripture to apply to our lives, and which again I think St. Luke's does a great job of. So I was definitely on the lookout for, like, when I first go into a church, okay, are there women in leadership here? What is the church community like? Do I feel welcomed? Do other people feel welcomed? What are the types of people like sitting around me, and what are their thoughts and that sort of things. St. Luke's definitely gave me a really good foundation for like what to look for in a church here.
Be flexible, because you might have a plan of what your college like experience is going to look like. I can guarantee you it's not going to look like that. There might be parts that like match up to what you think, but some curveball is going to get thrown at you and everything's going to get messed up, or something's going to go astray. For me, that was COVID. I was living my dream. I was doing great, having fun. Freshman year, COVID hit, got sent home. School hasn't been the same since, as you all know. But it's definitely been a challenge being a theater major and having to deal with the coronavirus and going on Zoom. And so definitely being flexible is something that is huge when it comes to college, because not everything's going to go the exact way you want it to go.